Good morning, all the brother and sister. I hope you have a good weekday. If you had the good weekday, you just enjoy yourself. If your weekday is a not so happy weekday, then you should check why I wasn't happy my weekday. After you checking about the reasonings, then you will notice the cause which is you be very unhappy. The cause were very simple, but you yourself become very unhappy. At the beginning, our Dharma class, this is the class about Dharma, not class about politics, not class about business, not class about how to, how to learn, learning about how to make more money, nothing about them. So this is a Dharma class. So we're going to study, we're going to learn how to be more happy, how I can give more happiness for others, how I can reduce my stressful mind, how I can reduce the anxiety. So Dharma is mainly for achieving inner happiness, inner peace. Therefore, at the beginning, everybody be relaxed physically and mentally. Because when you just sit down, when you just sit on the chair, on the bed, on the cushion, suddenly you will notice your breath is very fast. Also, you can feel it. Your breath is not in balance. So you have to be physically relaxed. Sit very comfortably. Second, you check your motivation for Dharma class. Why you are attending, you are attend Dharma class. So you check your motivation. As a teacher, not a guru, okay? As a teacher, also I must check, I must analyze my motivation to explain the Dharma to you. Both of us, everybody must have very pure motivation for achieving the inner happiness, achieving inner peace. Therefore, you need mentally be relaxed. Therefore, at the beginning, everybody, focus your breath, just your mind, just follow your breath in and out. So when your mind fully focus on your breath, then your mind become neutral, neither negative nor positive. Then it is very easy to transform the mind into positive states. Second, we just have the positive minds to study Dharma. And visualize all sentient beings, all human beings, particularly the person whom you don't like, the group of people whom you don't like. Please visualize they also around you. For the short time, the person, the people, harm you physically or mentally, harm you. For the short time, few occasions, they harm you. But so many times, the person who harm you, they give you a lot of support. The person give you a lot of happiness. So please, despite, harm little bit to you, therefore please cultivate great compassion towards all sentient beings. When you generate pure compassion, love towards all sentient beings, suddenly you able to feel the sufferings of all sentient beings, the suffering of your friends and family or your enemy. Then you just wish them to be happy, wish them to achieve the ultimate happiness. You're not just wishing them to be happy. You're not just only wishing them to achieve the ultimate happiness. You are going to take the full responsibility them to achieve ultimate happiness. You are taking the fully responsibility them free from sufferings. Please take the responsibility all sentient being achieve ultimate happiness. Please take responsibility all sentient being free from sufferings. So when you are taking the responsibility, then suddenly you will feel how I can, free all sentient being from sufferings, how I can bring them, how I can let them achieve ultimate happiness, because you are very simple, ordinary person. We don't have, that ability, power, all sentient being free from suffering. We don't have the ability, power, bring all sentient being to the ultimate states. We don't have this moment, but You have the potential. You have the potential. You have the ability. You have the potential. Free all sentient being from suffering. You have the potential. Bring all sentient being ultimate, happy state, which is liberation. So in order to fully awake the potential, we need excellent, perfect teachers. Therefore, please visualize all Buddhas, particularly Buddha Shakyamuni, Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara, Amita Buddha. Take refuge to them until we become Buddha. So when we take refuge to the Buddha, we are not just, taking refuge to them. At the same time, we also wish to be Buddha as them. Second, many Buddhist people, they always take refuge to the Buddha. They always pray to Buddha. They always do a lot of prostration to the Buddhas. But most of Buddhists, they are not serious about taking refuge to the Dharma. In order to take refuge Dharma, first you need to know the Dharma. Also, you need to practice the Dharma. Therefore, second, please take refuge into Dharma until we become Buddha. In order to practice the Dharma purely, without mistakes, without any mistakes, we need another kind of teacher who can correct our practice, who can guide us how to practice, what to practice. Therefore, third, we need Sangha, the being, the person who already have been practicing the Dharma, who have the perfect experience of Dharma. Therefore, third, please take refuge into Sangha. Then the verses, the stanza taking refuge. So we can use, different languages, English, Chinese. Commonly, if we recite the taking refuge, the verse in Sanskrit is a more easy to understand the meaning. Therefore, according to the Sanskrit language, we say, Buddha Sharanam Gacchami, Dharma Sharanam Gacchami, Sangha Sharanam Gacchami. Mean I will take refuge to the Buddha until I become a Buddha. I take refuge to the Dharma until we become Buddha. I take refuge to the Sangha until I become a Buddha. Right? So in your daily life, every day when you take refuge, I think it's good to, recite in Sanskrit. Therefore, please recite all together 3 times taking refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Buddha Sharanam Gacchami, Dharma Sharanam Gacchami, Sangha Sharanam Gacchami, Buddha Sharanam Gacchami, Dharma Sharanam Gacchami, Sangha Sharanam Gacchami, Buddha Sharanam Gacchami, Dharma Sharanam Gacchami, Sangha Sharanam Gacchami. Also, in your daily life, you will do prostration 3 times in the morning, 3 times in the evening. So when we prostrate to the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha 3 times in the morning, also is better to chant in Sanskrit, because Sanskrit is like a origin of the Buddhism. All the Buddha teachings, most of the Buddha teaching taught in Sanskrit. They translate into different languages. This one we can say Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Simply, I prostrate to the Buddha, I prostrate to Sangha and Dharma and Sangha. So when we take refuge in the morning, when we do prostration in the morning, first is beginning of our day. Therefore, beginning of the day, so in order to be truthful person, in order to be honest, so you need to cultivate the pure motivation, pure mind. Since this morning until I'm going to bed, until my bedtime, I will do only good things. I'm not going to harm anybody. Harming doesn't mean physically harming. But many times we harm other by verbally, mentally, and also action. When we look very strangely to someone, other people become very unhappy. Also, we harming to other. Therefore, every morning you must think, since this morning until my bedtime, I will do only good things. I'm not going to harm anybody, particularly my families who lives around, who lives with you, the people, the person who walk with you. So therefore, non-harming, is a very important practice in Buddhism. The non-harming, because it must come from, routine. It must come from compassion. And in the evenings, when we do 3 times prostration, that time you need to realize, you need to reflect what have you been doing, what you have done since morning until now, until your bedtime. You need to reflect what you have done. You must remember. Of course, many times you will, we usually remember, yes, since morning until now, actually I have done, a lot of bad things. It's a very common. So when you realize you have done, bad things or harm other, have a strong regret, and do, sudden recite few, the Vajrasattva mantra, the short one, Om Vajrasattva Hum, Om Vajrasattva Hum, Om Vajrasattva Hum. That means you are purifying the negative karma you have accumulated since this morning until your bedtime. And tomorrow also you move on as what I explained today. That means every day you always try to be truthful person, happy person. Every evening you purifying the negative karma. If you have accumulated negative karma, you are purifying. When you reflect your one day, activities, something you will notice, you will find, oh, since morning until my bedtime, actually, I have been doing only good things, good for myself, good for my relatives, families, good for my friends, good for my co-workers, good for the people who need it. When you realize you have been doing a lot of good things, you must rejoice yourself. Also rejoice the action, the positive action which you have accumulated, since morning till now. That means also you are practicing the seven limb, multiplying the positive actions, right? Therefore, it is so important every day you try to have a pure mind, very honest mind. So if you start your day in this way, definitely within 1 year, you can be changed. Within 1 year, you can have a lot of inner happiness. You have a lot of peaceful mind. Therefore, it is so important to generate pure motivation. It is so important your day start with a positive mind. Thank you. Second, the last time we talked, I asked you to memorize the few words from the Ras Siling Sutara. Can you remember the first 3 words? You recite yourself. Whoever sees depend origination, they can see Dharma. Whoever see Dharma, they see Buddha. Right? Then there's a discussion between Shariputtara and Avalokiteshvara. Shariputtara asked this question to Avalokiteshvara. This when Buddha looking at the the grazing field, Buddha said this thing: what does mean dependent origination? What does mean dharma? What does mean sangha? How somebody can seize dharma seen by dependent origination? How somebody can see Buddha seen by dharma? Right? So this is very important. Whoever sees dependent origination sees dharma. Whoever sees dharma, they can see Buddha. That means we are not just interested in, like seeing Buddha, meeting Buddhas. If you don't really transform yourself, if you don't try to change yourself, even though Buddha, became your roommate or your classmate, your co-worker, you don't get any benefit from the Buddhas. What does mean see Buddha? Mean when you understood the Dharma, when you realize the Dharma, you can be Buddha, you can achieve Buddhahood. So it's very simple. So when we explained, the meaning of the Buddha, Dharma, dependent origination with a lot of philosophical, term, with a lot of logics and reasoning, sometimes it is good, sometimes it's really confuse the people who study Dharma. Right? Therefore, what does mean dependent origination? Then can you remember there's a 3 sentence, 3 words. Please remember the 3 words about the dependent origination. From the Rasa Sutra. Well, the phrase dependent arising means that something arises because something else already exists. Please repeat this sentence 3 times. Something arises because something else already exists. Something arises because something else already exists. Something arises because something else already exists. This is the first line. The second line, something is born because something else was already born. Something is born because something else was already born. Something is born because something else was already born. Then the third line, that is to say, for example, right? Ignorance causes formation. Ignorance causes formation. These 3 lines is very important. We should not think, oh, it looks very simple. Yes, looks very simple. In order to understand these 3 lines, the meaning of 3 lines, not easy. When you really understood, these 3 lines, the meaning of 3 lines, it really changed your life. If you know, perfectly this meaning of these 3 lines, for you, very easy to overcome any problems, any sufferings, any difficulties. Therefore, in order to understand Buddhism, Buddha teaching, our daily practice, first we need to know this meaning of these 3 lines, right? Therefore, something arise because something else already exists. Something arise because something else already exists. So, for example, everybody, feels every day I'm not really happy. Morning, I am happy. Morning I was happy, afternoon I wasn't happy. Afternoon I wasn't happy, evening I'm very happy. And the happiness we experience, the suffering we experience, it is come from the causes and condition. The happiness arises in our mind because the causes and condition to arise happiness already exist. Oh, this morning I wasn't happy. I was very upset. I was very unhappy. Why? Before you feel very unhappy, before you feel unhappiness, the cause to arise unhappiness was already exist. Maybe exist last night, exist yesterday, day before, last year, or previous life. We don't know. We need to check. Therefore, when you feel unhappiness, you should not be just upset. You must realize, yes, right now I am very unhappy because the unhappiness causes conditions already exist. Unless we don't try to change from the cause, we really cannot change the result. Right? So this is very practical. It's a very practical. That means now we know how you can be happy, how we can, free from sufferings. So therefore, what Buddha said in the wheel of Dharma, recognize the truth of suffering. Right? Recognize. Then eliminate the origin of sufferings. If you eliminate, if you really minimize the origin of sufferings, the suffering going to minimize. If you completely eliminate the cause of sufferings, you're going to eliminate the suffering completely. Therefore, you can see the connection between cause and effect. So when we say practice Dharma, you really need to practice, the cause and condition, the cause and effect. Therefore, please remember this sentence, something arises because something already exists. Therefore, in our daily practice, we have been talking about, Vajrasattva practice. We have been talking about purifying negative karma because we don't want sufferings. None of the sentient beings want sufferings. How we can stop to have suffering? Stop from the cause. Then suffering never come to you. Then again, in the same way, very same way, you want happiness. She wants happiness. He wants happiness. Everybody wants happiness. How I can achieve happiness? Therefore, many, so many Buddhist people have a misunderstanding how to achieve happiness. Suddenly, when they feel very unhappy, suddenly they visualize Buddha and do a lot of recitation, chanting. This is one way, but it's not the ultimate cause to achieve happiness. In order to achieve ultimate, lasting happiness, we need to know the opposite, who destroyed happiness. Who destroyed the cause of happiness. For example, so you plant a seeds of mango, you put the mango seeds on the ground, on the field, and you really wish to grow a big mango tree, then you have a lot of, sweet mango. Yeah, you already put the seeds. You wish to have a big mango tree with a lot of sweet mango. It's okay to believe that way. So in order to have a big mango tree, lot of sweet uh, mango, you need to protect the seeds. You need to protect the tree. You need to protect the mango. Same way, in order to achieve happiness, yes, you can pray, you can chant, you can do prostration, but we need to protect actual cause of happiness, which is compassion, kindness, tolerance, contentment. Those are the actual cause to arouse happiness. But most of us, including me, we don't care much about the actual cause of happiness. We just, pray or chanting, recitation, because all our practice, most of, Buddhist people, all the practices is just in the sky. In the sky, everything never, come down on the ground. Never try to realize the actual cause of happiness. Never try to cause the actual cause of sufferings. Therefore, someday you feel, very unhappy. You feel when you enter your home, you feel a lot of kind of negative energy. Then suddenly you believe, oh, there must be something around my house. Ghost, spirit, black magic. Really never try to understand why I feel a lot of negative energy, because you have actually a lot of actual cause to have negative energy, which is anger, hatred, desire, uncontentment. Those are the actual cause to arouse the negative energy. Therefore, you are, most of you are very beginner in Buddhism, and also some of you are quite advanced. Yeah. Based on knowledge, we can say, some of you very advanced, like a study partner. So having, proper knowledge of Dharma is one thing. Having proper Dharma practice is another thing. Therefore, many people really, serious, very interested in studying Dharma, which is good. You can have a lot of Dharma knowledge. We must more serious about practice. So when we think about how to practice Dharma, suddenly we think, oh, I want to practice Dharma very profound, very important, which is I can be Buddha very fast, very quickly, very swiftly. This is a very misunderstanding how to practice Dharma. So as a beginner, we need to start our practice from very, beginning with the proper foundation. In order to have a solid foundation of Dharma, you need to know the concept of cause and effect. Cause and effect. A lot of, incomplete cause always produce incomplete result. Complete cause always produce complete result. Therefore, we really need to start from as a very beginning with a solid foundation. Means something arises because something already exists. Second, something is born, right? Something is born because something else was already born. So when you understand this, the meaning of this second line, that means something born because something already was born. Now it's talking about, yes, I'm facing a lot of problems. I have a lot of sufferings. Particularly, I have a lot of emotional sufferings. All the emotional sufferings, all the problems, the difficulties which you are facing in your daily life, those are not permanent. Those are not permanent. Those are not last forever. They can be changed. All the sufferings, all the problems can be changed because the cause, which is caused to have sufferings a problem, the cause and condition are impermanent. Impermanent. Second, we must have a right understanding of impermanence. Impermanence. Right? Impermanence. When you fully understood impermanence, then very important thing lost in your life for you, very easy to accept. Also, you know, within few months, within few weeks, within few days, one of your dearest parents, one of your dearest, like child, relatives, brother, sister going to pass away. You know they're going to pass away, but if you know that actual impermanence, for you very easy to accept, let them go. After they left, you won't feel that you won't face a lot of emotional sufferings. Therefore, second, you must understand impermanence. For example, this day, everybody feel very fear about the COVID-19. But we must know the COVID-19, the virus, are not permanent. It's going to be changed. Haven't changed yet. It's going to change very soon. You should not feel so fear. You should not feel so insecure about your life. Everything will change. Right? And some of you have a very simple job. You don't earn a lot of money. It doesn't mean you never earn a lot of money. You can. We never know. So if you have a simple job, if you earn a lot of little money, if you have a little saving, you should not feel, I can be like this forever. It can be changed. Or some of you are quite a very successful person, or some of you have a quite good saving. Also, you should not feel so, proud about it. You should not have a sense of pride about your job, your money, your poverty. It's going to change. When you change, if you don't understand impermanence, you really feel in the misery. The second is something is born. The result, all the fruits, all the consequences are impermanent because the cause to produce the result are impermanent. Therefore, cause impermanent, the result impermanent. The result is impermanent because the cause is impermanent. Permanent cause cannot produce anything, right? So first, need to know whatever arises, whatever exists, exists based on causes condition generally. Second, the cause impermanent, therefore the effect, the result, the consequences are impermanent. Everything can be changed. Therefore, related to the Four Noble Truths, when Buddha Shakyamuni, the first he said, this is suffering. This is the truth of suffering you recognize. When he explained more precisely about the truth of suffering, first he explained impermanence. Impermanence. Therefore, as a Buddhist, we really have a perfect understanding of concept of impermanence. Something lost in your life, for you very easy to accept, let it go. Some bad thing going to happen in your life, also for you very easy to accept the truth. Don't feel so scared. Impermanence. Then the cause is impermanent. The result is also impermanent. Therefore, something is born because something was already born. Then second, likewise, right? I think that is to say, ignorance cause formation. That is to say, ignorance cause formation. Now, so among the four noble truths, truth of suffering, the origin of sufferings. Right? So suffering has a two important causes. The afflictive emotions and the karma formation. So the positive karmas produce positive result. The negative karma produce negative karma. Both karma, both karma, either positive or negative, is caused by ignorance. Ignorance. Therefore, origin of suffering has a two. Afflictive emotion include ignorance. Those afflictive emotion and ignorance produce karma. Karma, right? When we say ignorance cause formation means karma, this is very important. All cause cannot produce everything. Cannot. Specific cause produce very specific fruits. Can you accept? Can you believe? Yes, very specific cause produce very particular result. One cause cannot produce everything. Therefore, ignorance cause formation. In order to have a karma, ignorance must be there. Without ignorance, there cannot be karma. Right? Therefore, if you don't want sufferings, first you need to control the negative karmas and the negative thoughts. In order to control two of them, you need to control ignorance. Ignorance, because ignorance is the actual cause to arise afflict emotions. Then we engage into negative action. Then we have all the sufferings. Controlling ignorance is not that easy. So, as a beginner, please, you should not take very much interested in recitation, chanting, prostration, visualization. No, you must seriously take interest to study, to realize, to know what does mean ignorance. Because this is the king. Ignorance is the king to produce sufferings. Ignorance is the king. We bound in samsara. Therefore, study is very, very important. So therefore, please remember first, whoever sees a dependent origination sees dharma. Whoever sees dharma sees Buddha. See Buddha means able to achieve Buddhahood. Then what does mean dependent originations? That means something exists because something already exists. Or something arises because something already exists. Second, something is born because something was already born. Like what was this to say, ignorant cause formation. So if you know this, if you fully understood this meaning of these few lines is really enlightened for you how to practice Dharma. It really enlightened you how to achieve Buddhahood. Right? Achieving Buddhahood, achieving liberation, fully liberated from samsara, is not much depend on the Buddhas and Dharma. Sangha is very much depend on you. You. For example, if you are sick, if you are seriously ill, yes, we need a doctor, not just doctor, good doctor. We need prescription, not just prescription, the right prescription to buy the medicine. After you have the medicine, you have the more responsibility to cure your sickness because you need to eat the medicine on time, maybe every day. Therefore, same thing, in order to be Buddha, in order to free from suffering, yes, we need a teacher. All the Buddhas are teacher. Teacher cannot do much. Therefore, Buddha said, I show you the path to liberation. Liberation is depend on you. Right? Buddha said very clearly. In Tibetan, we say, Ngeni, I, Ngeni, Kela, I show you the path to liberation. Ngeni, Kela, Tharbe Lam Sen Yi. I will show you the path to liberation. But liberation, achieving liberation, it depends on you. Right? Therefore, achieving liberation, yes, we need a teacher. All the Buddhas, all the master are the perfect teacher. So we need, right instruction. Therefore, all the Buddha teaching from all the Buddhist master are the right instruction. Now you have the responsibility to practice the path. In order to practice the path, first you need to know the concept of law of causality, cause and effect, effect and cause. Therefore, I choose to, study the the right-selling sutra. Therefore, ignorance, that is to say, ignorance cause formation. Formation, right? Ignorance cause formation. The formation cause consciousness. Therefore, today we will learn the 12-link dependent origination. 12-link of dependent origination. Ignorance, number one, cause formation. Formation cause consciousness. Consciousness cause name and form. Name and form cause six sense sources. The six sense sources cause contact. Contact causes sensation. Sensation causes craving. Craving causes aberration. Aberration causes becoming. Becoming causes birth. And birth causes aging and death. Aging and death. So therefore, please, read few times this sentence, since ignorance cause formation. Formations cause consciousness. Consciousness causes name and form. Name and form causes six sense sources. The six sense sources cause contact. Contact causes sensation. Sensation causes craving. Craving causes aberration. Aberration causes becoming. Becoming causes birth. And birth causes aging and death. then sorrow, elimination, suffering, unhappiness, distress, and disturbance, turmoil. Those does the intergrip heap of the sufferings. Right? Therefore, the last there's a few words. Sorrow, limitation, sufferings, unhappiness, distress, and disturbance, turmoil. Does these great heaps of suffering arise? Right? Now it's a very clear, also it's very practical. For example, how ignorance cause formation. Formation is a karma. Karma means like action. Action. For example, somebody has a, kind of fake iPhone 12. It's fake. It just, put a lot of color, looks very similar. Very similar. Everybody have a very strong desire to buy the iPhone 12. Very latest, iPhone. Then there's one person who hold the fake latest iPhone 12, the latest iPhone. The person holds the fake iPhone bit far away. And the person says, oh, I have a latest iPhone. I will give you. Right? Then everybody rush towards the person, try to get the iPhone. Then between we have a lot of fighting, a lot of disappointment, a lot of argument, because there's only one iPhone. There's millions of people. There are a lot of problems, killing each other, right? It's come because we have ignorance about the iPhone. Actually, the iPhone is the fake one, not real one. We thought is real. Therefore, everybody fighting each other. I want, you don't want. You want, I don't want. Lot of fightings, lot of argument, lot of killings. Therefore, ignorance cause formation, action. Action can be negative, can be positive. Ignorance. For example, the last time when we had a class in TBC from Venerable Geshe Dojir Abdullah, he used like a mala, right? Mala. So it's the crystal mala, for example, crystal mala, and the teacher said, I have a diamond mala. I will give you whoever come to me, right? Then everybody think, oh, I want that mala, it is diamond. We never think, oh, he says this diamond, it is diamond or not. We never ask question, never think. We just believe. Whatever we hear, we believe. Same way, the conditioned phenomena are changing. It's changing momentarily. It's changing momentarily, moment by moment. Our life, our belongings, our partner, our families, the place where we live, everything is changing momentarily. But we never think it's changing momentarily or not. Therefore, we have ignorance about impermanence. We have ignorance about how things exist. Therefore, we have an attachment because we believe whatever we perceived, whatever thing appeared to us look nice, we believe, wow, this is so nice, attachment. Things appear to us very ugly, that we have a sense of hatred, anger. We never analyze about our about our appearances, right? Therefore, something looks so beautiful when you analyze very closely to the object, to the person, to the events. When you study very closely, there's not such a thing we can say, wow, this is so beautiful, I want. You cannot find anything like that. Also, when we have anger, we hate someone, when we think, why I hate the person? When you closely study the person, the phenomena, the weather, finally you notice there's no such a thing I really can, hate. Therefore, ignorance causes formation. Formation, karma. Clear karma. Karma, we accumulate. We have been accumulating karma physically, verbally, mentally. Right? Among the 10 known virtues, killing is mainly physical action. You cannot kill mentally, verbally. Yes, the verbal action, the mental action involved, but mainly in order to kill, we need to act physically. Stealing. When we stole something from someone, also is physical action, but the mental action must be involved, but mainly physical action. The sexual misconduct is a sexual, I didn't say sexual, it's a sexual misconduct is mainly physical action, but the mental action involved mainly physical. Then lying is also more like physical. So yeah, 3 is a physical action: killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct. Killing, right? Killing generally, killing any living beings, generally. If you already has taken the vows not killing, you are saying, I'm not killing any human being. Any human being. Therefore, if you purely follow Buddhism, believe in Buddha Dharma, then the abortion is not good. Doing abortion, actually you are killing human. Right? Then the sexual misconduct. I think almost 90 of you are lay person. Living as a lay person, living as in the society as a human lay person, of course you can have a physical relationship with someone, but make sure the person who you going to have, who already have the physical relationship, make sure the person not really belongs to someone. That means you cannot have a physical relationship with somebody's wife. Because if you have this kind of physical relationship, they make a lot of problems, destroy your friendship. Generally, the sexual misconduct or the sexuality, neither positive nor negative, is generally kind of neutral. If you have a vows, then if you have this kind of relation, it is no good. Okay, I'm not sure what time is it now. Oh, 11. Okay, so you already we have almost 20 minutes. We can have a discussion for, let's say, 10 minutes. Then we can have a 10 minutes for meditation. Please, everybody, feel free. Open your mind, open your mouth, just ask question. Please, if we discuss, or I can clarify some of your doubts. Also, you can clarify, you can clarify my doubts, my ignorance. Therefore, it is so important to have an open discussion. Also, some of you think, oh, I don't know anything, I don't want to ask question. No, actually, you know so many things, but you don't want to ask. Also, you think, oh, I don't have any doubt. Actually, you have. You don't recognize. Therefore, please have a discussion. Feel free, have a discuss.
Yeah, Kishila, the questions come from Sandy. He's wondering where ignorance come from.
Can you unmute the person who asked this question?
Okay.
It's a discussion. Discussion. Please don't feel bad. Hello.
Yeah, Cindy.
Kishila, thank you very much for being there.
Okay. So you're asking question, where does the ignorance come from, right?
Yep.
Where your physical body come from?
My mother and my father's effort.
Okay, where your mother and father come from?
Their mother and father.
Their mother, right? It's go all the way to kind of beginningless.
It is a
Very
beginning.
simple. You know, right now with late morning, we have a ignorance in the late morning. The late morning ignorance come from early morning ignorance. Early morning ignorance come from the last night, yesterday, day. It's go all the way beginningless. Right? This is not important to discuss where the ignorance come from. I tell you the important kind of advice by Buddha.
Yep.
If somebody shot you poison arrow, right? Poison arrow, like poison. Can you understand?
Sure.
Arrow with a poison, very strong poison. Somebody shot you the arrow. You notice it's a really strong poison. It is what full? Oh, who shot me? Where the arrow come from? Who's the person shot me? Is the not important, right? What's the most important here?
I have to pull out and
Out the arrow,
up.
fix the wound, right? Therefore, first we know, actually, when you study very closely, for example, our life is changing, our physical body is changing, but we never study closely. Why is changing? Oh, then you notice, oh, it's changing momentarily. I didn't know. I wasn't know, right? So the most important for us to recognize the ignorance and how to, dispel the ignorance. This is most important. Then where the ignorance come from. For example, the poison arrow. Yes, ignorance is a true concept, ignorance. Ignorance about the person, ignorance about the phenomena. So ignorance about self is caused by the ignorance of the phenomena. The ignorant phenomena we have because we don't understand how the phenomena exist. So when we realize how things actually exist, then we understood, oh, the ignorance was mistaken mind, right? Mistaken mind. Otherwise, we just believe what we perceive. Then we always have a lot of, like wrong action. Yes. Thank you for asking this question.
Thank you very much, Geshe.
Is there any?
Yes, we do have. Yes. Wei Eng would like to ask some clarification on meditation. If while meditating on a two-dimensional image of Buddha, if the mental image changes and appears differently, but is still about the same object, for example, appearing as 3D, appear from various angles, from top, from side, or with aspect, with with light, grow, warmth, or that the object appear with feelings like compassion, should we just let it be? let the mind flow as long as it's about the object? Or should we stop and redirect the mind back to the exact image of Buddha, as in forcing the mind back to the two-dimensional flat image of Buddha without any attributes?
Okay, the person who asked question, can you unmute for him or her? Hello? Hello? Who asked this question? Stephen, can you unmute?
Yes, Wei is unmuted.
Okay.
Oh, his mic is not working, sorry.
Are you sure? Actually, you know, when we do kind of meditation, we can have a two kind of different timing, two different way. The two purpose. For example, when you meditate on, like say, medicine Buddha for curing your sickness, then yeah, there's a lot of, like visualize the Buddha, medicine Buddha, follow nectar, them. There's a lot of different kind of mental image at the same time. So this is one, reason to visualize or meditate to the medicine Buddha. Second, when we do meditation based on the Buddha, in order to accomplish, serenity, calm body, serenity, then we just, focus the original image we already set in your mind. It between is changed into a different dimension. Please re-visualize. You cannot just your mind follow as the image can change. If we do this kind of meditation in order to achieve serenity or calm body, we're never going to achieve serenity because our mind just, look like, the mental image is look like a banana. For example, our mind is like a monkey, right? So when we show banana to monkey just follow the banana, right? When we we lift up the banana up, the monkey looking up. We put down, monkey look down. When we go away, monkey come behind us. Therefore, when we do meditation, in order to accomplish shamatha, or we call shamatha, kamabadi, serenity, single pointed meditation, whatever we name, we just focus as the original image. Should not visualize, like from the three dimension. Just focus one dimension. Yeah. Then other time when you do, your daily sadhana of the Buddha or Yidam, whatever, then you just follow the sadhana. Therefore, it's so important to keep one original or, object of meditation. You should not really change. You should not, follow your mind with a different dimension. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Next question.
Next question. Since dependent origination occurs when something arises from something that already exists, and there is no beginning and end from samsara, is samsara a time loop? If yes, why do scientists say that the earth started from the Big Bang? Is that the start or end? Or it is just a part of time?
Again, thank you so much, the person asking this question. Also, can you unmute for him or her?
Hello.
Okay. Why did you think there's a not ending or beginning of samsara?
Because like I heard that a lot of people say it's like endless. It's like there's no start and there's no end.
Okay. According to Buddhist philosophy, according to Buddha teaching, yes, there's no beginning point. There's no beginning time of samsara. We can say samsara started from this time. There's no beginning point. Therefore, we can say beginningless. Right? Please remember, everybody, there's no beginning point of the samsara. But there's a ending of the samsara. There's an end of the samsara. That means beginning or end is talking about individually. You can end your samsara, but samsara generally exists until all sentient beings become a Buddha. Yes, very simple way, my answer for you, there's no beginning of the samsara. Definitely, there's an ending of samsara. Samsara, clear? Second is, the scientists are not talking about the general kind of, the samsara. He's talking about these planets where we live, this world, right? They're talking about the Big Bang and they start in all the star or the sun and moon, and they go around. They're just guessing. They are just guessing. They're just assuming. They don't have a solid, evidence. There's something, the Big Bang, they become many parts. Then we can ask question, yes, usually we ask this question to scientists. Then where the Big Bang come from? Therefore, His Holiness Dalai Lama, he wrote a book, Universe in Single Atom. Universe in Single Atom is very important, the concept, single atom. That means these planets where we live, it started from atom. We call space atom. It's very called Namke Dul, space atom. Before the Big Bang, before this universe, there's a billions of atom in the space. It's moving around. Due to certain condition, one atom and two atoms stick together, then 3, 4, 5, 10. Then slowly this become like a world. Yes, very simply, according to Buddha teaching, there's no beginning of the samsara. Definitely there's an ending of the samsara. If there's no ending of samsara, actually, then there's no worth. Not worthy to spend our time with the practicing to overcome from samsara, ending the samsara, becoming Buddha. Yes. Then, so I give you a very simple few reasons why we cannot accept the beginning of the samsara, why we cannot. So logically, if there's a beginning point, say that means this start from here, right? Start from here. Beyond, there's a nothing. Beyond, there's a nothing. Start from here. Then it started from here. This thing, how this thing exists, causeless, without cause, permanent cause, or there's a God. So we have a few options. The beginning of the samsara arise causelessly, right? Without causes condition, or it start from permanently, it started or created by gods, the creator. Either, if you say it arises from causeless, it's illogical. Is start permanent cause, also illogical. It's created by God or creator, also when you study closely, precisely, look like it's illogical. Therefore, we cannot accept the beginning, beginning point of the samsara. Okay, we have one more question.
Yeah, we have 2 more questions.
Okay.
By thinking of any misconduct, is it considered karma form, such as hatred or greediness?
Oh, again, I really appreciate, whoever asked this question. I am very happy to receive, all the question. When karma is just, with just one word. So we need to break into physical karma, verbal karma, the mental karma. Hatred, anger, those are kind of mental action, is also a kind of karma, yes. But without physical action, also we can accumulate mental karma. For example, like being greedy. You're not doing any physical action. You in your mind are very strong greedy. You have a very strong head. This also mental karma, not physical and verbal karma. So therefore, please you study, all of you please study what are the 10 virtuous action, what are the 10 non-virtuous action. Because yesterday his students gave a teaching from the Precious Galen. Also, please, all of you must remember, Nagarjuna said, we need a faith, we need a wisdom. Because the liberation, the Buddhahood depend on high realms. Before, without take a rebirth in human or celestial being, we cannot practice dharma. Therefore, we cannot achieve liberation and Buddhahood. So in order to achieve excellent human life, excellent celestial being life, first we need a faith. In order to achieve liberation, we need wisdom. Faith and wisdom. If you have a solid faith, where your faith is very strong, very solid, you're not going to give up your faith with any difficulties, any problems. So here I will tell you, it's a real story. Not is real, like happened in Singapore. Many people, many family buy Buddha statue, Thangka, put on their house, do a lot of recitation, chanting in order to have a lot of money, a lot of wealth. They chant for many years. Finally, they thought, oh, I have been praying to the Buddha. He never give me a lot of money, a lot of wealth. I don't want. They throw away. Those people don't have actually the faith. If they have a kind of faith, it's a very blind, ignorant faith. The faith can change because of not strong. So we must have a pure faith, which cannot be changed by any condition, any circumstances. This is the cause to achieve excellent human life. Plus faith, then the 10 virtuous action. When you practice the 10 virtuous action, you need to stop to engage into 10 non-virtuous action. First, killing. Why killing is so bad? Why stealing is so bad? Therefore, in the Precious Galen, explain, the virtuous actions, 10 virtuous action, 10 non-virtuous action. Each of is bad: stealing bad, killing bad, lying bad. Is with the reasoning. Please, you read, first 2 pages from the Precious Galen. Also, you think, oh, Precious Galen is very easy. I don't think it's so important. I want to study Madhyamaka or Abhidharma or Vajrayana, Tantrayana. Still, you just flying in the sky. Fly in the sky. If you always fly in sky, you never get food and drink and water and shelter. You will die in the sky. Therefore, you have come down, start from the very basic, from the foundation. Yes. So this kind of question answer for you.
Yeah.
Next question, please.
Last question is from the Chinese student. I tried to translate, but I apologize if I didn't get it right. So, hello, Geshe-la. Now I feel I don't really have much feelings towards happiness or suffering. Happiness and suffering is merely a name that human being tag on it. Yeah, so happiness can be seen as like a suffering and vice versa. So I observed that this is just a kind of feeling only, and it doesn't really have any physical existence. So the problems that arises from the problem that I have right now, I don't really have any feeling anymore. Is this normal?
Again, I really appreciate the person, from the Chinese speaker. I'm not saying Chinese student and English student. I prefer to say, Chinese speaker, English speaker. I'm really appreciate, person who asked the question from the Chinese speaker. I think, I guess, so according to Buddha teaching, Buddha said there's three types of sufferings. Suffering of change, and the pervasive sufferings. I guess you fully understand the meaning of the first two sufferings, yes? We may say suffering of suffering. So for example, somebody cut your fingers, suddenly you feel suffering because it's kind of feeling, you're right, feeling. Without feeling, there's no sufferings. Without feeling, there's no happiness. Yes, when somebody cut your finger, you have a mental suffering. You feel the feeling, you feel sufferings, mental sufferings. This suffering. This suffering of change, right? So when you feel very hot, you suddenly go in the air-conditioned place, you feel so good, so happy, so pleasant. You stay there for more than 2-3 hours. Suddenly you feel notice, oh, I have a suffering, I'm not happy, I want to go out. It's a change of suffering. But most important here, somebody cut your fingers, it's up to you. When somebody cut your finger, you can have a pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling. Normally, average people, somebody cut your finger, you always have an unpleasant feeling. If your mind trained in practice of bodhicitta, great compassion, somebody cut your fingers, you can have a suffering feeling. Feeling is suffering. Of course, somebody cut your finger, you can feel the pain. But in your mind, you cannot have a really suffering. You feel really happy about cutting your finger by someone. For example, one of the Buddha Shakyamuni lifetime, even though when you go to Nepal, there's a mountain named, hill, Tiger Hill. Tiger Hill. Where Tibetans say, the hill, which is the tiger the female tiger give his life to his cub. Because the tiger mother was very hungry, she didn't get a meat to eat. She become very, very weak. Then the cubs around her is become very weak. Then the tiger mom feels so, desperate. Then she was hoping the cub wished to eat her body. Right? If the cub could eat her body, yes, she can feel the suffering, the pain, but she feels very happy. Right? Therefore, yes, when you have a lot of physical a problem, like physical sufferings, it doesn't mean you can have a mental sufferings. When you have a physical unpleasant feeling, it doesn't mean you can have a mental suffering. Mentally, you can feel very happy, very rejoiced. Yeah, so thank you so much asking this question. So, it's almost 11:30. So today I think I talk, so we don't have a time for meditation. So when we do meditation, please, 3 things always remember, 3 things very important. Mindfulness is the mind which is remember the object of meditation. Mindfulness. Many people have thought mindfulness is the meditated mind. No. The mind have to concentrate the chosen object. Then the mindfulness always remind the object meditation to the mind. Therefore, please make a separate mindfulness and mind. Mindfulness is the, one kind of like a mind, we can say mind, it remind the object of meditation to the mind. Second, when you meditate on the chosen object, another important one, the introspection mind, right? Very important. That means when you do meditation, you need 3 kinds of mind. The main mind focus on the chosen object. The mindfulness always support to remember the object of meditation. Then the introspection mind always look at the mind, always watching the mind. The mind is meditates on the object or not. Therefore, when you do meditate, because most of you are beginner, I don't want you have a kind of bad habit about your meditation. When you already have a bad habit about meditation, it's not easy to change. Therefore, you can do meditation with the mindfulness, with the introspection mind, and the duration of your meditation should not be long. You do very often, but you meditate, you rest. You meditate, take a rest. Therefore, more, but the timing must be short as a beginner, right? So this is I want to say today here. And thank you so much for attending the Sunday class. I really hope you can get some benefit from our discussion, our class. Not just mentally you can get benefit. I hope you can practice, you can practice little by little. I'm not saying, since today, you always do meditation. I'm not saying since today, you have to be compassionate. You cannot. Bit by bit, try to compassionate, try to practice compassion, try to practice patience, try to realize the truth. Then bit by bit, within 1 year, your life can be changed. You can be changed. Okay? So thank you so much attending the class. At the end, so please dedicate the merit for world peace and peace in Singapore, peace in your family. Jide yambe yagan danje do mene chune zase zade madro moge guba gunjen tsirine me dege dembar sho. Dedicate the merit to able to practice bodhicitta. Chanjo senjo rinpo je mahye panam geguru. Kewa nyamba meba yang kone kondo pelwa sho. Thank you so much. So if you have any comment, have any suggestion or class, please feel free to have suggestions. Somebody you may say, Geshe-la is talking too much. Please feel free to say. Or somebody can say, Geshe-la speak too fast, or whatever you have a comment, please feel free to have a comment on this class. Then I try to change, the duration, the topic, whatever you have a suggestion. Please feel free to have a suggestions. Thank you so much. Have a happy Sunday. Thank you.